Hey, this is Gavin Gaddis in for Bryan Barletta for Sounds Profitable. Today, Thursday, March 19th, 2026. Building Podcasting, a Bigger Stage. Bryan Barletta reflects on podcast movement evolution's first year at South by Southwest and what it means for the industry going forward. But first, pack your bags. It's almost time for Advertising Week Europe. This year, Sounds Profitable will be in attendance as the host of the Business of Podcasting Space, with sessions scheduled for March 24th and 25th. Read the full session schedule with a link in today's show notes. All right, reminder, this article is in first person from Bryan's perspective. So from here on out, I am him. Here's my pitch perfect Bryan Barletta impression. After months of preparation, Austin is in the rear view. I'm incredibly excited to report back to all of you that podcast movement evolutions at South by Southwest was a massive success. So much so that we've already announced the return for next year, and we'll share the dates as soon as South by Southwest confirms the dates of the 2027 festival. As Dan Franks, founder of Podcast Movement, said, quote, "The biggest shift for us was when we stopped thinking of Podcast Movement as just a conference and started thinking of it as an infrastructure for the podcast industry," end quote. The key to this shift was ultimately moving away entirely from the hotel-style conference, dropping down to just one track and placing the event inside one of the leading creator and innovator-focused events in the U.S., and that's thanks to all of you that it turned out as remarkable as it did. As an industry, we did a terrible job of lifting our heads up and seeing we're currently positioned, let alone celebrating our successes. But while we tend to keep our heads down, grinding to the next big thing, the rest of the world views us pretty centrally in all of the shifts around the global creator economy. Podcasting is leading so much of the change in the creator industry, and while, yes, some of it does come from within podcasting, more and more of it is coming from creators with big impact outside of podcasting who are buying into what we're doing. The only way to get those people in the room, the conversation, and the community is by bringing it to all of them, which is exactly why we did this. Structure. We designed this event to be the home base for the podcast industry within the larger South by Southwest event. Even with no promotion by South by Southwest directly, our event was consistently active at all times, nearing capacity at others, and on Saturday night, fully hit capacity with a full night dedicated to celebrating the launch of Companion that included a live acoustic performance by Andy Grammer and a conversation with Penn Badgley. Our programming throughout the weekend was intentionally curated to spark curiosity, drive conversation, and, of course, entertain. We saw morning keynotes from the likes of YouTube and Apple on new developments for the industry, as well as one from our very own Tom Webster unveiling new industry research. We kept it going long after dark with live podcast recordings and performances from the Table Read podcast, Scalable from Kaya Yuriev and Jasmine Enberg, and the Broken Record podcast with special guest Maya Hawke. Sunday evening, we closed out the weekend with the help of Oxford Road, who used the South by Southwest opportunity to introduce the inaugural Indie Pack Awards. The event was hosted by Killer Mike and top creators like Steven Bartlett, Diary of a CEO, Tim Ferriss, The Tim Ferriss Show, and Hala Taha of Young and Profiting were all in the room to take home their awards. Not only did we see familiar partners and past attendee faces, but we also saw companies that touch the podcast industry and haven't participated notably in podcast movement or any podcast-specific event before making their way over for one thing or another. And the number of new people doing incredibly interesting things that we got to meet was a major highlight for me. The positioning within South by Southwest really set the bar for who and what to expect out of an event asking for your attention there. The space absolutely was designed to support people being there the entire weekend. 11 partners had dedicated meeting tables, which came in twice the size but looked too cool to swap out, along with an entire private lounge from Oxford Road in Libsyn, a full-service and free coffee/espresso bar, thanks to the sponsorship of Locked On Podcast Network, a killer podcast recording studio right in the patio, made possible by No Mono, Simplecast, and the Podcast Academy, especially Ty King. Heck, we even had free breakfast tacos. But we didn't ask all of you to pay high hotel and airline prices just to hang out in our space. Podcasting was the center of the conversation at South by Southwest, more so than AI this year, making it easy for everyone who had limited to no experience at larger than podcasting events to easily break into conversation. Without a convention center, South by Southwest spread throughout the city, so people were constantly wandering around exploring both the cool things about Austin and specifically South by Southwest opportunities. Honestly, it reminded me a bit of why I enjoy Cannes Lions so much. While an official pass got you into a few unique things, the best of what I came across didn't require one. In the same way you're asking more from us, we're asking more from you. Building a hub inside of South by Southwest gave all of you the opportunity to go out there and explore while having a place to bring people back to. It was your event as much as it was ours, and that was visible by the number of people who brought new friends and faces into the space to hold meetings and show off what podcasting is all about. As we think tactically about the value of every event we go to, we need to ask, what new opportunity does this provide us directly and indirectly? We're confident that what we provided this first year embodied that goal completely. None of these goals would have been achieved without the support of our sponsors. Acast, Adopter Media, AdsWiz, Airwave Media, Amazon Music, Art19, Odyssey, Castbox, Culture, Companion Network, Display.io, ESPN, Locked On Podcast Network, Magellan AI, Mopod, Mint Agency, Nielsen, Nueva Network, Nomano, NPR, Oxford Road, Red Seat Ventures, Right Side Up, SAG-AFTRA, Simplecast, Soundstack, Supporting Cast, Texas Hill Country Podcast Network, and YouTube. Driving the industry forward. There's no one company dominating podcasting, which means there's no one company setting the course for the future of podcasting and deciding where we all go. That's why the teams at Sounds Profitable and Podcast Movement take seriously the opportunity we have to push things forward and get your buy-in. The industry demanded change from the previous format and growth in how they navigate our collective entry into the greater media space. Our teams are just lucky enough to get to provide that for all of you. September will mark 6 years running Sounds Profitable, and the one thing we've done the worst at is explaining why the number of partners keeps growing every single month, but hopefully this event shows that. Every single one of the 200 plus partners of Sounds Profitable had their logo in 2 places at the event, because they're the backbone that made this happen. They're the people that not only directly benefit each month from partnership, but financially support our attempts to go bigger and better without having to cave to the pressures of a typical event company. They're the ones who bought in further to those ideas and helped make them a reality. They're why all of this is a success, because this is their event. 6 years in, Sounds Profitable and Podcast Movement are stages and spotlights now. We're connective tissue and consulting, opportunity and support, research, and advice. Because we have buy-in from such a vast network of partners from around the world, we're able to take action to do what the industry needs instead of waiting until we've sold something to justify the cost of doing something big. So while we prepare for New York City, which we're excited to share full details of very soon, this is our ask to you. Reach out to us. Learn more about what being a partner is all about and why it's a good fit for you. Look through the list of partners and ask your peers and friends why they find being a partner of Sounds Profitable so valuable. While there's zero chance of slowing us down, the only reason we're able to take these risks and chances is because of our growing base of partners, which we'd love for you to be a part of. Thanks for listening to Bryan's article, Building a Bigger Stage for Podcasting. For Sounds Profitable, I'm Gavin Gaddis, in for Bryan Barletta, and we'll see you next week.